A Canberra-based business which is very focused on talent, and I think we've achieved a pretty good outcome here, a very good outcome in relation to the Brumbies family and the way forward. So I certainly want to be part of this, and we certainly, as Canty, want to be in part of the success of 2014 and years on from there. So congratulations to both of you, and we look forward to the year ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Keith, and thanks everyone for coming today. It's a nice little turnout, actually. We might come to Cantley more often for our press conferences, because it's an attractive place to...
We can adjust to meet your needs, Andrew.
In short. Look, I'm very pleased today to announce that the board of Brumbies Rugby has endorsed the recommendation of the Coaching Appointments Panel to appoint Laurie Fisher as the new Director of Rugby for the Brumbies and Stephen Larkham as Head Coach of the Brumbies. It's an outcome that we're delighted with. We certainly started off this process, which has been comprehensive. It's taken us around about a month, looking in a more traditional way, looking at that head coach role, as you were all aware and reported on. But it quickly became apparent that through employing a structure more familiar in Europe than it is in Australia, that we could achieve outcomes for the organisation that we feel were better, that maximise the strengths of the respective coaches, maximise the amount of time they could spend coaching, which was a critical factor for us, ensure their continued development as coaches, which they both wanted, and enable them to continue to work together to provide success on the field for the Brumbies as we've experienced over the last 2 years, and hopefully that will support the ongoing development of the club off the field. So it's a process that we're really comfortable with, an outcome that we're delighted with. We announced it to the players yesterday afternoon. They're really supportive as well, and the two guys are positive, so we're very, very happy with it, and I certainly welcome you to ask any questions that you might have.
Well, Laurie, I guess you must be happy. How do you see your role changing, or does it change going forward?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do. The beauty of it is my coaching role doesn't change significantly, so where I was able to contribute to the team last year is where I'll be able to contribute to the team in 2014 and 15. What changes is some additional off-field responsibilities, so I'd have a genuine passion about trying to make sure our pathways is where they need to be. We want to develop more locally bred Brumbies players, so we need to get on track there, so I'm really keen to get my teeth into that area, and just the overall responsibility to run the high performance program. We've got a great group of coaches, of medical staff, of S&C staff, so just making sure that it all runs smoothly, and I have no doubt that it will. So it's some extra responsibility, but as Andrew said, the key is I've still got a significant hand in coaching, which is generally what coaches want to do.
Do you think it's the best of both worlds, Laurie, in terms of Bernie's obviously a young coach coming through that I guess helps that transition a bit?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for Stevie to have a great responsibility to how the team plays their football. And again, it's like any system. No one person in any environment determines exactly how it's done. We've worked on a basis over the last 2 years where we've all contributed to how the team plays, to tactically where we are on any given weekend, and that won't change. We're expecting all the coaches to contribute, but expecting Stevie to take a greater responsibility in taking leadership over that rugby side of the program.
Steve, how do you envisage this on a practical sense, particularly, I guess, game day, for instance? How does this sort of arrangement work?
Well, the same way it's been working for the last 2 years, really. So Laurie's going to take charge of the forwards, I'm going to take charge of the backs. We're going to make sure the units individually are working as they need to, and then as a collective on game day we've always had a really good combination. So Laurie's sort of up in the box and I'm on the sideline, and we see different perspectives on game day. We're obviously mic'd up together, we're communicating throughout the whole game, we're making decisions based on what we see and running it by the other person, so nothing's going to change there.
You'll still be running out onto the field, giving water and giving advice as you go?
Yeah, the plan at this stage is for me to be on the sideline. I've certainly enjoyed that role, and I think the players appreciate that role. And I can give messages, the messages that I want to give to the back line, and I can pass the message on from Laurie and the other coaches up in the box. And again, as I said, I see it from a different perspective down there, and I understand why some coaches like to sit on the sideline. You get the atmosphere, you get the emotion. And I think the combination of someone being up in the box and seeing that eagle view of the game versus someone who's right in there amongst it is very important for this organisation and the Brumbies going forward.
And how about selection? I mean, it comes down to the final, one person needs to be selected. Maybe it's a forward that needs to be selected. Will that come down to you or will that come down to Laurie?
Well, that'll come down to Laurie, yeah. So nothing's going to change in terms of the way we're running the team. And the most important thing, I guess, is that we are sharing responsibilities off the field. But on the field, we're giving 100% to the team, which is what we need going forward. We've built the team up over the last couple of years. We've had good success last year, this last season. We need to keep that momentum going, and we don't want to detract from our on-field performance. So off the field, it's going to be the same. Last year Laurie selected the forwards, I selected the backs. Jake oversaw all of that process, but really nothing changed from our selection, so it's going to be the same.
Laurie, do you imagine? I guess it sounds. Title's director of rugby feels a lot like co-coach. Is that kind of how it's going to pan out in a lot of ways?
Well, it's different to co-coaching because we do have different responsibilities. So again, as I said before, I'll be maintaining my coaching responsibilities that I had last year to a large part. Stevie's got greater control and leadership over where the team is going, and I've got additional responsibilities off the field. So it's co-coaching in terms that we coach together. We've coached together for the last 2 years. We'll coach together for the next 2 years. A little bit more leadership for Steve on the rugby side, and some more leadership for me away from the field.
Laurie, you've been around a long time now. You've probably been around long enough to see relationships like this work and not work. How do you prevent it going a different way and making sure it does work and kind of safeguarding yourself against those decisions where you do differ on opinions?
Well, you've got to work at it. Again, the beauty of where we are now is you sit 2 metres from each other. Is that you're obliged to talk about things. There's no war between people, so you don't have to go from one office to another. So everything we do is about the rugby program. We hear what each other are saying. You get the opportunity just to converse. Not like anyone, whether it's a marriage or whether it's a rugby program. If you're not talking about it, then you're going to struggle. So we just need to make sure we say that. We spent we were in Europe with the Sevens. We went to look at Harlequins. We went to look at Saracens. Went to look at London Irish, all which have directors of rugby and head coaches. So we've looked at the models, we've seen how successful they are over there, we've seen the different responsibilities that a range of people carry in those environments, and we've seen them work very, very successfully.
Stephen, how does it feel effectively being married to Laurie then?
Well, we've been that way for the last 2 years, haven't we? It's an evolution, you're right. We've been in engagement now and married. But I think Laurie's point there in particular in terms of how decisions get made, there's robust discussions and you're putting your arguments together to one another. And now hopefully we're going to have a third coach coming in and join that conversation. And it's whoever argues the best point really comes away with it at the end. If you're passionate about it, you've got to see your argument through. And we understand, we're fairly logical sort of men, so we come down and understand where the other person's coming from and we make decisions based on that.
It is important to recognise there will be a third coach that will be appointed in the near future to support Laurie and Stephen, an assistant coach with some primary responsibilities in defence, but supporting the program as required.
Laurie, are you still going to be able to focus on the breakdown as you have been for the last?
Most definitely, yeah. My focus on attacking breakdown, attack of contest won't change at all. So 100% my responsibility. I'll take my ideas on board, but I'll work with that.
Well, in terms of set plays, obviously Ben Mullen's still there, but we've lost Dan Palmer.
Correct. Well, Ben Alexander will take the lead on our scrummaging this year. Ben Mullen supported by Leon Power, and we'll see who else who comes through. Scott Fardy potentially line out, and again I'll have some responsibilities for overseeing line out again, depending upon who joins us in the coaching ranks, hoping to pass on perhaps a part of that set piece responsibility. But again, we like the players to take a significant lead in the set piece, and for the coaches to provide some more overseeing responsibility.
You've spoken in the past to me at the very least about a desire of being a coach again. Is there a little bit of disappointment you missed out, or is this sort of the best of both worlds?
I haven't missed out on anything.
Sure.
Laurie, can you talk to us about Bernie? Like, you obviously been around Canberra rugby for a long time. You've seen him come through the ranks. You've coached him. coached with him, and now you're in this role as well. What makes you think he's ready for that step up? And I guess he is one of the Brumbies.
I'm right here.
Great, so how have you seen his development?
Look, I know as a player what Bernie certainly brought to the training field was when he was there, everybody else around him trained well. It made the session work better, and I think he's the same as a coach, that the session around him works really well. It's just you organise, you bring ideas. Look, you'd have to ask Stephen. I think he's learned a lot in 3 years of coaching. I think from where he was at the start of 2011 to where he is at the end of 2013 would have been a fairly steep journey, but you'd best ask him that.
Well,
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's, my coaching career has been relatively short compared to Laurie's, compared to other coaches around the Super Rugby conferences. I think the first year was a real learning curve for me in terms of, we had 6 losses in a row, players took a bit of control of the team, we lost control of the team, we got the control back. So there was a number of things that I learned in the first year, and then the second year and third year was under Jake and with Laurie, and both of those guys are incredible head coaches in their own right. And so I've learned different sides of head coaching from both of those guys over the last couple of years, and worked really closely with all those over the last couple of years. So I feel my coaching on the field has come a long way, but off the field I've certainly learned a lot.
What about the feelings for you? You've obviously been around this club since it started. How does it feel to now be the head coach?
Oh, it's a great honour. Yeah, when the Brumbies first started up in '96, I was lucky enough to get a contract. Felt lucky to have that contract in '96, and feel very lucky to have the title as it stands at the moment. The Brumbies are a big part of my history, to an extent that they're my family. I've grown up in this culture. Canberra, I'm very passionate about Canberra, obviously being born in Canberra and going to school in Canberra, very passionate about the community and understand how important the community is in Brumbies rugby, and I want to make sure that the combination of Canberra and Brumbies is strong going forward. So it's a real